Do you like stealth games? Do you enjoy sneaking in the shadows and taking out your enemies when no one is looking? Do you enjoy feeling like a superpowered badass? If you answered yes to any, or let's be honest here, all of these questions, I have a game for you. Aragami is a neat little indie game released on Steam, PS4, Xbox One, and even the Nintendo Switch if you're into that. It is sold for $20 but can regularly be found on sale for closer to $5 packaged with its DLC. I personally haven't beaten the DLC, so I won't be talking about it here, but is it worth that $20? To begin answering that question, let's discuss the story of Aragami. You are a shadowy ninja, a vengeful spirit, in Aragami, summoned by a woman named Yumiko and tasked with saving her from captivity. To do so, you must find 6 talismans stored around Not Japan, using your shadow essence to cleave through any who stand in your way. Those who stand in your way are called the Kaiho Army and control light essence. Something is immediately off as you begin seeing memories of both Yumiko's past and someone else's. This mysterious figure appears to be a member of the Kaiho Army, or at the very least is a light essence user themselves. Discerning players will immediately realize that this other person is the Aragami itself, or rather who the Aragami was before it became an Aragami. As you continue to collect each talisman, more and more memories are revealed, and the Aragami begins asking more and more questions. Yumiko, for her part, answers fairly truthfully, but seems to be keeping something hidden from you, and urges you to remain focused. As you near closer and closer to your goal, 2 powerful figures within the Kaiho Army come to oppose you. Captain Hikaru, and the suspected general of the Kaiho Army, Sora. I say suspected since once you stab Sora in the chest, it is revealed that she is in fact not the general of the Kaiho Army. You are. Or, you were in your past life, before Yumiko summoned you. Your name was Ryo, and you and your buddies you've been murdering all night imprisoned Yumiko to prevent the deaths of thousands. Who is Yumiko, you might be asking? The Shadow Empress. A so clearly evil character name, I'm amazed Aragami didn't suspect she was evil from that alone. Unfortunately, Aragami are born without memories, and thus the Shadow Empress, using those handy talismans you collected for her, escapes her prison. Doubly unfortunately, there is still one talisman unaccounted for. You. You have a part of her soul inside of you, and she wants it back. Thus commences the final battle of light and darkness. Ryu, wielding the Katana of Light, ultimately defeats Yumiko, but not before drawing some neat parallels between the two of them. They are both people driven by vengeance, fighting each other in a war that started before either was born. If Ryo had lost his family like Yumiko had, would he have been any different? We don't know, but regardless of that, Yumiko must die, and so Ryo kills her, leaving nothing but his sword and her doll remaining in the aftermath of the battle. I have to say, despite the predictability of this story, the ending still managed to make me feel for these 2 characters. This is doubly impressive as there is no voice acting in this game. The entire story is told in text boxes with vaguely Japanese sounding audio playing. There are no actual Japanese words, it just sounds vaguely Japanese. The only words that ever seem to actually get said are the character names. While the story is pretty solid, albeit fairly predictable, it isn't the highlight of this game. So, let's discuss what is. The gameplay. Aragami is a focused stealth experience that can be played with up to 2 friends. The primary unique feature of Aragami is its Shadow Essence system. You, as a Shadow Essence user, draw your power from the shadows, and this is represented by a white outline on your cloak. This is essentially a spooky mana bar that will replenish while in shadows and deplete rapidly while in the light. This mana is used for the game's most important mechanic, the teleport. You can teleport to any shadow within a radius, with only limitations being line of sight if you have enough Shadow Essence left to do so. This allows you to quickly navigate levels and pull off some sweet looking stealth kills. Shadows don't just let you teleport, they make you harder to see too. In the light, you can be seen from a mile away, but in the shadows, you're a ghost. You can still be seen, but the radius is severely reduced, and you'll use this to your advantage to either sneak up on and assassinate a guard, or slip by undetected. Be careful though. Just because a guard can't see you, doesn't mean they won't hear you. Running is louder than walking, which is louder than crouching. Fairly standard stuff there. So you're already feeling pretty powerful, huh? Well, don't worry, my dear Aragami. There's more. Throughout the game, you will unlock additional powers at the cost of scrolls you find littered around the various levels. From eagle vision to throwing knives to black holes, you have quite a diverse array of tools at your disposal. This is balanced out by having only 2 charges of every power, only being able to replenish them with a lengthy takedown or altars placed around the map. However, that lengthy takedown option happens to lead to a very broken combo. You see, one of the powers you have is invisibility, where no one can see you, but you can still do stealth kills, including the power granting one. So what do? You go invisible, Shadow Dragon kill a guy, go invisible, rinse and repeat until everyone is dead. If you listen closely, you can hear the air leaking from the punctures in the game balance. Avoid using this, it is broken. Of course, I may or may not have used it a couple times when I was in a pinch, but I recommend experimenting with the other options at your disposal as well, to make sure that the game is remaining fresh and fun. Obviously, we have one powerful stealth kit here, but what happens when you inevitably fuck up and get caught? What's the combat like? 2 words, you die. There is no combat in this game. If you're caught, you have 2 options, escape or get bodied by a beam of light, and that first one is difficult. So while you don't auto-fail on detection, and sometimes you can pull off some cool shit, it's fairly likely you will be dying if you're spotted, so don't do that. Easier said than done though, as this game is fairly challenging, particularly when you're going for all the scrolls. You will fail, and probably fail a decent amount of times, but it will make that victory all the sweeter. So who will you be failing against? Enemies have 3 types: Soldier, Archer, and Fireball. Soldiers are your standard guards. They walk around patrol routes and carry swords to stab you with. Archers are positioned on vantage points and are often overlapping. If they see you, they will shoot an arrow at you that may or may not actually hit you. The final type of enemy is the floating balls of fire dotted around the map in the later levels, often blocking the obvious path and forcing you to take a more creative one. They have a circle around them that, when entered, will cause them to attach themselves to the player and explode, killing you if you don't escape in time. They are mostly indicators of where the developers don't want you to go and are generally easily avoidable, but do provide a level of challenge to the environment itself, which is always nice. So you have a cool tool set and enemies to use it on. What is your main objective? Breaking blue orbs to destroy yellow barriers that block your path to the next area, of course. Occasionally you have to lower a drawbridge instead, but the blue balls of boredom are the main objective in like 75% of the levels. I say boredom, but these levels are still fun to play since Aragami's main gameplay loop is so satisfying. It just really is a loop. You enter a new area, find the blue ball you gotta smash, then move on to the next one. It gets to the point when you reach a level whose objective has nothing to do with smashing, you're surprised and excited by it. Of course, the 3 most unique levels come towards the end, and are also, strangely enough, boss fights. How do you do boss fights in a game without a combat system? Easy, make the stealth harder. Do they succeed? Not really. The first one is basically just a dude you have to kill 3 times instead of once after smashing some orbs again. The second boss fight is annoying for the first half and then irrelevant for the next, and the final boss fight ends as quickly as it begins. Let's talk about that second boss fight for a minute though, because oh my god, this first part of the level made me want to commit war crimes. None of your powers work, the cover you had to teleport to isn't always reliable, and the endpoint you need to reach is frustratingly difficult to get to. This section has none of what makes this game feel good to play, and it suffers for it. That one segment aside, the boss fights, while not anything special in the realm of gaming, are still Aragami, and so still fun. The ultimate goal of this game was to make you feel like a shadowy ninja badass, and boy does it do wonders in delivering that fantasy. You feel similar to Corvo from Dishonored, as you teleport around the map looking for your next victim, employing a variety of tools and powers to concoct master plans that come together in a beautiful display of violence. That, or you play Ghost and just avoid the enemies altogether. Your choice, really. At the end of every level, you are given a score based on how you performed and stuck to a specific style. I am not a fan of having my options limited, and so largely ignore the scoreboards in these types of games. But if you like scoreboards, it's here. If you don't, ignore it. It has no effect on gameplay. So is it worth your $20? Ultimately, that is up to you, but I would say wait for it to go on sale, because while the gameplay is incredibly satisfying, you'll likely complete the game in about 5 hours, and $20 is a steep price to pay for that in my opinion. I got this game for $5, and at that price point, it is a crime against yourself not to pick this game up. It is fun, challenging, unique, and definitely worth your time. So if you're a fan of the stealth genre like me, this is definitely a game worth adding to your collection.